Just after 4 Eastern, he said, and I quote on Twitter, there is word this afternoon that a New Jersey, Arizona are working on closing a Taylor Hall deal. That deal has in fact been closed.
Hey, listen, here's an FYI for any of you listening or watching at home. When one of the quote-unquote insiders said nearing a deal, it's damn well done.
You're done?
You better pay attention, because that's not a courtesy heads up. That is, there is something coming down the pipe, or pike, as they say, and Fried was correct on it. Taylor Hall on the move.
New Jersey Devils tweeting it out, so it has become official. Taylor Hall and Blake Spears to Arizona in exchange for a first-round pick in the 2020 NHL Draft. Third-round selection, which is conditional in 2021, can become a first-round pick, according to reports. Kevin Ball, Nick Merkley, and Nate Schnarr are the others going the other way. There was a lot of speculation on whether or not they would end up getting the New Jersey Devils and Ray Shero. The top two prospects from the Devils, which are Barrett Hayden, Victor Soderstrom, they get neither, but they get the third and the fourth in Ball and Merkley, respectively.
For Arizona, this is quite something here, right? They got Phil Kessel not that long ago. Mm-hmm. This is a different type of John Chayka, the GM of the Coyotes and Arizona Coyotes that we're seeing. They're currently atop the Pacific Division.
Right.
This is a team that has Darcy Kemper, one of the best goaltenders in the world, dare I say. And defensively, there's
at least right now.
At least right now, there's only two teams better defensively in terms of total goals allowed in the league, and that's the Islanders and the Dallas Stars. Mm-hmm. So this is a team that has a lot going for it right now, as the Edmonton Oilers know, and some other teams know in that Pacific Division.
Right.
They're quiet, but they carry a big stick. For them to bring in Taylor Hall is fascinating to me, Tim. As you just illustrated, this was no small price for a future unrestricted free agent.
Right.
This was 3 prospects, potentially 2 other first-round picks that are conditional, and again, for a guy who's about to walk. Now, maybe what we don't know is, maybe the Coyotes are kind of keen on signing Taylor Hall. I don't know. But I haven't seen this, Tim. I can anticipate there are parts of Oilers Nation in this moment on social media that are a little pissed off at this. Because you got Taylor Hall going back into the division now. Taylor Hall was linked. Last time I checked, the Oilers don't have a lot of depth offensively. They could maybe use another guy. And this was not a topic that hadn't been broached by a few people, including our own Elliot Friedman, over the last couple of months. I'll say this to any Oiler fan who's not happy with this. Relax. Relax. Because if he doesn't sign with Arizona and goes somewhere else, Taylor Hall, having been a former first overall pick, will be on 4 teams by the time he's 29. Mm-hmm. What does that tell you?
I'm not sure what it tells you, because there's 2 sides to Taylor Hall, and you can't be a kind of sort of superstar. But what we've seen from Taylor Hall is that he has as many Hart trophies as he does playoff appearances.
That's true.
Both won.
That's
and
true.
I'm not going to blame him for his teams not being good, but there's something to listen. I don't know what the end result in all this is. And when you have 6 goals, if he was playing in a Canadian market right now, he'd be getting killed.
Oh, yeah.
But he's coming off of an injury. He's also had now, if you add Rick Tocchet to the mix, 9 coaches in 10 NHL seasons. Like, it hasn't been the model of consistency. And we're not sure what the outlier is, if 2017, 2018 is the outlier. Or, I mean, you look at those numbers, and he had 39 goals, 54 assists in 2017, 2018.
What a season.
And
Good.
then the season before, he had 53 points total, 20 goals. The year after, obviously, banged up, comes back this year, hasn't 6 goals in 30 games. So there's a lot to Taylor Hall, and I'm not so sure the Oilers fan is all that upset, because word was they had no interest in trading Evan Bouchard, and I'm not sure that anyone in Edmonton wanted them to give up defensive prospects for Taylor Hall.
That's the last thing you do if you're the Edmonton Oilers, considering what you're trying to get accomplished.
I was trying to find this poll. David Staples, Edmonton Journal, put it up on December 14th. How disappointed will you be if the Edmonton Oilers failed to bring back Taylor Hall? Would you be surprised if not in the slightest was winning that poll or won that poll over 3,000 votes from seemingly Oiler fans at 49.8%, a wee bit 37%, and I will burn with anger 13%. So the not in the slightest.
I will burn with anger. That's quite a suggestive option there for any poll.
I will burn with anger. I mean, it's basically 50-50.
Yeah, I'm a little. I listen, man. We all
Two
know,
options to the negative, one option to the positive.
we know how passionate Oiler Nation is, and how little playoff action they've seen over the past several years. What's 12 or 13 years without playoff hockey?
Right.
I'm a little surprised at that. But the other side of me that, again, is kind of losing a little faith in the Taylor Hall story isn't that surprised. Look, aside from that one massive year in Edmonton, aside from the MVP year in New Jersey, what are we talking about? A 20-goal guy who can't really play in his own end. That's not unheard of in this league.
Yeah.
There are a few guys that fit that bill.
I also don't know what he's played with in his time.
Correct.
I mean, they've had talent in those Edmonton years, but they weren't good teams.
And again, not only did he win the MVP in that 2016-17 Devils season, grabbed the team by the neck and dragged them to the postseason. There was not a lot of help around him on that roster to begin with anyway. So I credit what he's done. Again, this is a young man who might be looking at a fourth team after the season before he's 29 as a first overall pick. I don't know how you classify bust. Some of you say, well, he's got a Hart Trophy. He's not a bust. That's a fair argument.
Right.
But don't tell me, no one can convince me this is an over-the-top, get him to where they need to be move by the Arizona Coyotes. And based on the haul that was given up from GM John Chayka, that's kind of where he's going here. This was not a small price to pay for a guy who's about to walk from his contract.
Let me add from Elliot Friedman. No extension is a part of this trade. New Jersey retains 50%. Now, they weren't paying anybody, so, I mean, outside of PK Subban, they weren't paying a lot of money out, so they could afford to do that, and that's why the haul is as good as
Correct.
you see for Taylor.
Stop it.